Hello and welcome to this micro training video from FMCG Academy. Today we are going to talk about how to write an annual brand strategy or plan. So it's an annual sort of exercise which happens in a number of FMCG organizations. And we're not going to actually write a full brand strategy and plan, but we're going to look at the structure and more importantly, the key components on it. If you do wish to read through the rest of this slide, then just pause on the screen here. So getting straight into it, the first key component and the first thing you should look at is trends that are impacting your category. And these are socioeconomic trends or food related trends, or depending on which category you are in. So you want to look at long to medium term trends. Long to medium term trends. And why you want to do that is you want to make sure that when you write strategy, strategy is in line with trends, not against it, because then it's not going to help you grow your category, assuming you want to still grow your business. But that's the topic of another discussion. I've used the example earlier of a orange flavored beverage called Ola, which is an orange flavored beverage, and that operates in the orange sort of juices category, beverage category. Now, in terms of an example of a mega trend, so if the mega trend is towards more wholesome products with natural ingredients and with full fiber in the product in terms of eating food or juices, then you won't be stripping off key components from the juice. You'd probably leave the pulp inside. So those are some sort of trends, health trends you need to take a look at if you're in the orange juice category. What's the thing on natural? What's the thing on vitamin C? Are your products sort of meeting the trend requirements? And if they are, then that's great. If they are not, then you possibly need to alter course and plan and strategy or tactics. The next key thing is category structure and dynamics. Now, the category structure is very important, and its dynamics, and this is done in the sort of medium to short term. Typically an year or year and a half's data is looked at. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at long-term trends, and I'm assuming you've done that in the first part here. So you've done that long-term trends which impact the category. You've had a look at that. You've had a look at long-term category structures. This is about understanding the state of the category its segments. What are the various segments that operate in it? Segments and the various players or competitors, as you might want to call them, and how is each one growing, etc. And you want to also understand how and why did the category reach the state it is in. So this is very, very important. If you can understand that, so the state of the category, and I've explained this in more detail in a video I did some time back on how to analyze a category. And I just want to direct your attention to that one. So we've done this video, and make sure you have a look at it when you get some time. It basically talked about, this is sort of the state of the category, the value, size, share, growth of category segments and competitors, which I was just talking about. And then we used 33 metrics. 6 of them would give you the state, and the balance 27. So starting with ranging, share of SKUs and distribution, that's one cluster. Pricing was another cluster, 6 more metrics there. Promotional activity in terms of 10 more metrics. And I've explained a lot of these in reasonable detail in that longish video. So make sure you have a quick look at that. And also the media investment and above the line investment that's happening in the category. But that will help you understand a category and its dynamics very well. Jumping back to our category structure and dynamics. So that's very important. Now, if you've done these two, the first 2 boxes very well, then you are likely to have a reasonably good understanding of what's the strategic option you should be taking, or what route you need to take basis the structure, the competitive environment, to grow your business, provided you want to grow your business. Now, the third thing is organization goals. Now, organizations normally have various methods of, and especially multi-category organizations, and I'm going to talk a bit about that. So they will have a vision or a mission for the business. And at a macro level, the organization, especially in multi-category environments, would have selected which categories or brands they want to grow, which brands they want to decline. Large organizations typically use different kinds of words like harvest or milk a category, or grow or build a category, or exit a category. But roughly all those terms different organizations use fall in three buckets. Basically, one is, do you want to grow? So you can grow a category or a brand. The second one is decline. It's quite simple. You're probably exiting a business if you want to decline it, or you want to exit it because it's unprofitable. That could be the case too. And the third is you want to hold. Now, there are different variants of decline. You could decline profitability, you could decline at a substantial loss, but that may, so we're not going to get into all of those sort of more broad strategic directions. But your organization may be operating in multiple categories and may have decided, look, Ola, the brand, we don't want to grow, we want to hold it, or they may have decided to grow it. So where that sits, where that direction comes for the brand is very important. If the direction is pre-decided, you may still, based on your trends analysis and your category structure and dynamics analysis, may be able to go back to the business and say, look, you're saying hold, but I think we can grow. So that's an internal debate, but that happens. But typically, a lot of these things are pre-decided at a senior management level through thorough analysis. So this is not done at a whim or a fancy. They've already looked at some of the big trends and what bets does the organization wish to lay. Where can they differentiate themselves and grow rapidly? So depending on where that bet is sitting, the first three boxes should help you quite easily. Once you've identified the trends, understood the category and its dynamics and who's growing, how they're growing, etc., and you've got your organization goals, you should be able to clearly write brand strategy. And strategy is simply about choices. So this is now getting specifically into brand strategy. So you might, it basically will identify where you are going to lay your bets. So where to invest. And I'm not only talking of money, it's time and energy too. So where to invest? You might say, our brand, we want to grow it, but however, we have a large chunk of people who are aware and haven't tried. So we might invest a lot in sampling this year. I'm just throwing a very simplistic example there. Or you might have that a lot of people don't know your brand. So based on your analysis in the first three boxes, you may come up and say, we haven't actually, there are still 60% of the market is not aware of my brand. So you might say awareness is a big trial. Awareness is the key to driving trial. And you might have different strategic sort of statements you'll make out there. And that is, I'm not going to write a brand strategy statement or a bunch of statements at this stage, but it could involve new products, it could involve advertising, it could involve anything. So it could be a combination of NPD, advertising, or trade, or category management, etc. You might look at a number of different things and form a strategic sort of brand strategy statement. But it's got to be a choice which you're making of where you're going to invest and what you're going to go after. The key thing next, after you've written a reasonably straightforward and easily understood brand strategy, is to write an execution plan. So that might have a advertising component to it, might have a trade strategy component to it, might also have a shopper marketing strategy, which is becoming very common, a shopper strategy to it. A lot of companies are also doing digital strategy separately, though I still think it should sit within one of these buckets. Is it in advertising? Is it in consumer awareness, etc.? So, but you have a number of different elements to it. And what you need to look at, in terms of trade strategies, which retailers are you backing? In shopper strategy, so this will be more retailer driven. How you're going to operate with various retailers. And then in shopper, you might have more about price and promotions. Again, these things need to be fleshed out. So this is not just blanket statements, and the numbers need to be worked out. Price, promotions, and in-store activation. What's your sort of execution plan on that? So a lot of those things need to be worked out. I still think it's part of a big brand strategy and plan, and it's written between marketers, category managers, and salespeople. Obviously, the brand team needs to own it. But that's kind of an execution plan. It'll have timelines and metrics, and there are different documents you can create to manage that. And the last one is obviously having a P&L. So the P&L will tell you the monies, so where does the money and the dollar sit? Dollar or pound or euro or rupee or whichever part of the world you're in. And then other metrics people look at are very common ones where we as marketers benchmark is market share. So market share, we're going to take market share from X to Y. You will possibly also have a distribution target you might want to put in, because that'll help you achieve market share and your P&L. You might have, so the P&L will cover all the key elements of product P&L. Again, we've done a detailed product P&L video quite some time back. Make sure you have a look at that. But that'll give you a few other metrics there: market share and distribution and the dollars. And these kind of can be tracked every month, every quarter, and presented back to the team, and then starts giving you a more sort of holistic view of where you're heading. And typically in a brand strategy sort of planning environment, you will keep correcting your course as you go along every 3 to 6 months. You may not change your strategy dramatically, but you'll keep correcting and adjusting. I hope that gives you some idea of how an annual brand strategy plan or document should be approached and written.